Navy takes on Notre Dame. Let's go, midshipmen. I think it is 1,000% un-American to not root for a service academy regardless of who they play.
You can't say that before I give my take on why Notre Dame wins this game. That's unfair. It's very leading of you to do that to me.
You are un-American. Go ahead and talk bad about the Naval Academy. They protect you, Joe.
To push that aside. To push that completely aside, Notre Dame's winning this football game. And I think that one thing that stood out to me, I don't think it's like a hot take. It's like, oh my God, Joe said that they're going to win the game. What? That's crazy. Neutral site game. It's here in New Jersey. Sadly, I won't be going to it. I had tickets for it. I was going to go to it, but going to Rhode Island homecoming instead because Sean and I are doing something fun for that. But this game, what has hurt teams in any situation going up against a Service Academy team, and especially this version, the way that they're playing offense, is if you're not fundamentally sound and you're not well coached. You got to know who's got who has what responsibility on any given play. That has been one thing that has stood out to me the most from Notre Dame's defense. Outside of the NIU game, they have played really strong, gap sound football. They're downhill and they tackle really well. It paints the light for why they should win this football game. Outside of thoughts on the performance and what to expect, Notre Dame has to win this game by 20 plus.
They're not going to.
I don't care, and I know that I'm very cautious, and I'm not saying that they will win, but Notre Dame needs to win this game handedly. I get that they're ranked, but they're still a G5 team. Notre Dame can't dick around and step into this game thinking like, oh, it's Navy, we'll see what happens, and then win by 7 points. They need to leave no doubt at the end of the season. It's been something that I keep harping on and talking about with Notre Dame. Leave no doubt for the committee. Leave no doubt. If you're going to go undefeated this final stretch and be in the final conversation, you have to dominate teams because you're going to be competing with the best example of a team that you're going to be competing with, Blake, is Indiana. Indiana could finish the year, lose to Ohio State, be 11-1 or be 10-2. But when you look at their schedule, playing against Big Ten teams, they're blowing them out. They're on a historic run that replicates Alabama and Georgia teams in the past decade of how much they're winning by margin of victory. They have to dominate this Navy team. It is going to be a hard game, but if you play to your potential that we've seen on some weeks, they should kick their ass, and they need to win pretty handedly and confidently.
Notre Dame, I'm going to say this, you're not going to like it. If Notre Dame's 11-1, they're getting in no matter what because of the brand of who they are.
I get that, but I don't know if that's a lock, man. Like I don't think that's as much of a guarantee.
It's a lock.
I was on TJ Pittenger's show earlier today, and we were talking about this. But so he brought that up too, and I don't truly 100% believe in that. That the committee's just going to pull them.
1,000% true. 1,000% true. You know it all the way in. You know it, and I know it. But Joe, you got some young players that are starting to have to play. Okay, I'm going to be real with you. The last time that I remember seeing Notre Dame on a team that, stay with me, that has O-line read option principles, they were very undisciplined in their front seven. That being NIU. Okay. They would run pounder and then zone off of it. My question now becomes, what has Notre Dame learned? Because the NIU thing should not have happened. But I'm specifically looking at defense. Let's turn on the all-22 because let's talk about what really happened. You are out of gap. You are not sound. I know it's NIU and you played a team that you had no business being around. The problem was, Joe, they were out of assignment a lot of times in the running game. It's how a lot of those third downs got converted. And Joe, this is not a team that you can't be fundamentally sound against. It's not. And I'm going to tell you something. Even if you win by 10, the score is, unless it's like 3 points, the score is not going to indicate how you feel in a game, right? Like you could beat a team by 17, but you know that it was a full domination. Remember the Georgia-Clemson game in the beginning of the year, Joe? And we were like, nah, Clemson pretty much whipped that butt even though the first half was close. So you kind of felt like that game was never going to get into Clemson's hands. Joe, I think that what we're seeing from Navy and Army this year, and we kind of have alluded to it. We talked about it last week on this show with them and both them and Army being ranked. Joe, they're actually, ironically, not bad football teams. I mean, they're really solid.
No, they're good. They're good teams.
And
They're good competitive G5 teams.
I don't want to. I hate when you put that G5 label on them because, man, they just
But
get.
that's what they are.
Joe, I'm going to be real with you. I think that you're not. I don't know how disciplined you're going to be this week. I do think Notre Dame will win, but I'm going to be honest with you. This game might be close. Dude, all right. Dude, you know that I don't, when we talk Notre Dame, because I don't want people thinking I'm biased. I'm dead serious. You got to show me that you are disciplined in certain situations in your front seven. Joe, they hadn't been. Okay, you have been like that against Georgia Tech. Blake, what are you talking about? We did it last week against Georgia Tech.
And we did it against Stanford.
They did it against Stanford. Haynes King's not there, and Stanford is dookie water, and you know it. This is a team that actually has a pulse, and they're always, Joe, Navy offensively is always assignment correct. Here's the thing. This is the third straight week that you have gone up against a secondary that's been 80th in the country or worse. Joe, why you're not dominating more in the air is mind-boggling to me. It's mind-boggling. Dude, I'm going to keep saying this every single week. This is not the Mike Denbrock that I know.
One of the things that I've been talking about after the Georgia Tech game, they have been on a week-to-week basis from Stanford to Georgia Tech the last 2 weeks. They have been opening up their passing attack more. Like they have been expanding it more. They've been figuring out what works, and what worked for them is attacking more short to intermediate. Going more 7 to 15 yards. That's all that they can do. They can't connect over the top, and every time that they try to, Riley Leonard gets picked off, and just terrible bad plays keep happening. They need to keep relying on that. I think that they're improving and they're getting better. They're not like they were against NIU, and they're not like they were against Texas A&M. I think they're figuring out how to get into a rhythm offensively.
Your passing offense, Joe, is 105th in the country. So even though things have gotten better, okay, they've gotten better against worse opponents, and this one's not better. I mean, look, Navy's defensive backs, they're giving up a lot of yards against a lot of really bad teams.
They're also getting run over a ton. They're giving up 165 rush yards per game, and then you mentioned the 224 passing they're giving up a game. Their defense isn't good enough to. They're a team that's going to.
They're going to play keep away from you, though.
Yeah, they're going to try to. I don't know if they're going to do it successfully.
I'm not giving up on the midshipmen. Okay, they are Joe. I'm going to be real with you. What if Navy has one loss on the year? Then what? So
they don't get into the play. If they don't
one loss. If Boise State wins out, I think they're going to get in. But they got a big game against UNLV this week that we got to talk about. Look, I know I've been joking with you. Okay, that I'm picking the midshipmen. No, I wasn't joking with you. Give me the midshipmen, baby. It is un-American.
Move on to the next game. BetOnline remains your top spot for all of your live betting action and contests. NFL, college football, UFC, NHL are all in full swing. BetOnline is your number one source for wagering news, odds, trends, and predictions with both desktop and mobile access at any time. Head to BetOnline today and use promo code BELIEVE, that's BLEAV, for 50% off your first deposit. That is a 50% welcome bonus. BetOnline, where the game starts.